everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. We are so excited today. We have a director with us. We love talking with the directors, and we have director Jake Helgren here. And Jake, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so what we like to do with our guests is we like to find out a little more about you and what inspired you to become a director.
I grew up on a farm out in small town Texas, and was watching movies with my mom and my sisters as a small child. Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving, always big holidays in our household. We went all out with decorations and celebratory festivities throughout the holiday season. And so, just in general, as a kid, movies about entertaining movies became a big part of my life, whether it be something scary, like during Halloween season, or just something fun and alive during the Christmas season. So Hocus Pocus and Home Alone are probably my two favorite movies of all time. I Love Actually is one of them. And I just knew that I wanted to do that. I got told, my third grade English teacher told my mom, he's a really good writer. He should be writing. This is something that he's good at. And at some point I realized I didn't have the patience to be a novel writer. So I was like, I want to write movies.
Yeah.
So that's what I started doing. I wrote my first script when I was about 18. But then I ended up going to college for writing, English writing and rhetoric. And so I was in a writing program, but I was always writing scripts during that time. So I finally came out here to pursue the dream, and the writing turned into producing, and the producing turned into directing. And
so you were a writer first.
I was a writer first. Yeah. There was a number of movies that I wrote and or wrote or produced. My first Christmas movie, I think, was Dog Walker's Christmas Tale for Up TV with Jonathan Bennett and Lexi Giovanoli. We did that about 6 years ago, and I wrote it, but I did not direct it. I wrote and produced it. So yeah, I had always known I wanted to do these kinds of genres. So it's kind of funny that I fell into doing a lot of stuff for Lifetime, Hallmark, the scary stuff and the romantic stuff. So yeah, I'm pretty happy and enjoy what I do.
Is it hard taking on both directing and writing, or is it sometimes easier because it is your own script?
It's a lot easier, I think. In fact, it's funny because directors, we produce movies that I don't write and don't direct. And sometimes in those scenarios, it's like your director has to know the script backwards and forwards. I'll write the script, and then sometimes when I'm on set directing, I'll be like, is that in the script? Because I'm just so like, I know what's happening at all times, but I won't necessarily remember every little detail because it's in my head. So I get a chuckle sometimes when I'm like working with an actor and they're like, no, I was like, that was great. And they're like, but that's in the script. And I'm like, oh. Or I'm like, I
really am brilliant.
Like, no. So yeah. Everybody gets a kick out of that. But I do think it makes it easier because going into scenes, going into things I already know, I wrote it. So I have a very clear picture in my head about how I want it to look and how I want it to feel. And I'm one of those directors that, I'm a big collaborator. I love working with people who are talented and good at what they do. And I like to let them do their thing. But I'm very hands-on, from production design to costume design. I'm very nitpicky. This is exactly I picked out these 3 dresses for the lead ladies for the finale of the, I'm pretty specific about those kinds of things. So it's good. It's fun to be hands-on, and it's fun to be creative and something I really enjoy.
Yeah, I'm always curious to know from directors, what's it like working with both the editors and the directors of photography, the cinematographers, how much of it is sort of you saying, get these shots, get this, and how much is it them coming and saying, this is what I think works for the scene, or is it just kind of an equal back and forth?
I think with any key crew position on your set, whether that be an editor, especially, you hit the nail on the head, especially with editors and cinematographers, because they do have so much of this control over the overall product. But even in the cases of your costume designer and your production designer, these people, it's so important to let them, like I said, do their job, and give you their ideas, but kind of be able to know when to say, we only have so much time in the day. I don't have time to do that. I need this. This is a great idea though. So let's try and find a way to maybe combine my idea and your idea, create an aesthetic that it's just important that you're both on the same page, because having especially a director of photography who you don't see eye to eye with, that can kill a movie. I mean, it has. There's a lot of movies you'll find that biggest creative problems are usually between like either the director and the producers, or the director and the director of photography, or the director and the lead actors. These kinds of positions of power. It's just really, really important to be on the same page going in, and kind of have a clear understanding of what you're going in to do together, be on the same page with that, because you definitely see the movie magic comes in. I'm the director of photography I've worked with on my last two thrillers. He and I have just seen very eye to eye on everything. It's just like a very shorthand that we have with one another, where he already kind of knows what I like him to do with the camera. So I'm not having to ask him to change a lot of like, hey, I don't like that. Like, I need you to do this instead. I think having that shorthand, he knows I'm going to want like a shot over someone's shoulder rather than a clean shot of them from a strange three-quarter angle, he knows what aesthetic I want. And that's just important to know going in. For your editors, it's similar. An editor, if I'm pretty good in the way that like I don't overshoot. I think some directors definitely overshoot, and when you overshoot, then you're giving the editor maybe more options than I would want him to have to play with in the editing room. So I just don't overshoot. When I have what I need, I move on. And then it becomes a little bit easier for the editor to do their job, because they don't have 20 things to choose from. They only have a couple options to choose from.
Yeah. Would you ever kind of get a bang? You're like, oh, you went with that take? That's surprising.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I have a number of different editors I've worked with, all very talented. And some of them do. Sometimes an editor maybe likes that like slightly campy or silly take, or they may like the one where the actor really started crying really hard. And I'm like, no, we can't have like, somebody you don't see actors in a Hallmark movie sobbing, like it's not, no. If they're going to cry, they're going to get emotional. It needs to be within reason. Mm-hmm. So, but I also, that's something that, you have a conversation oftentimes with the actors going in, like, we're making a very, very specific kind of movie with a very specific formula. And let's go in making the best version of that possible. Certainly there's going to be moments, there's going to be times when, your actors are going to get a little bit emotional, and you just hope that you have that kind of actor. I mean, who immediately comes to mind is Ashley Newbro, who was the lead in my Hallmark movie, Merry Christmas Match. She got emotional a couple times in that movie, and it's just, you just see it right here, but it feels very, very real, and it feels very authentic. But she's not, sobbing. And that's what the movie calls for. That's what we've come to expect in these kinds of movies. So it's an art. It's really, and it's a skill, and not all actors have it. So it's a beautiful thing when you get to see actors who can do it. And then also, having a director that knows what needs to be put in, and what shouldn't be.
Is it hard for you to envision the after effects of like things like when they're adding in the snow and the other visual effects in the films? Do you have to kind of use your imagination when you're looking at the dailies?
Yeah, I mean, I guess at this point I've gotten very accustomed to visualizing. We can have that shot in the movie because we can realistically do effects on it, or we cannot do that. Obviously, we always try to do as much practical as we can. We've lucked out a few times when I did it's not Christmas, but it's a winter wedding movie for Up TV a few years ago, and they did premiere that on Christmas Day. But that film in particular, we were lucky enough to shoot in Big Bear, and we had some real snow throughout the shoot. So we did very little in the way of snow blankets, very little in the way of effects. A lot of it was real, and that beautiful powdery snow, that actually came down on the actors in a few scenes. But yeah, I think, when we did Dashing in December for Paramount Network last year with Andy McDowell and Peter Port and Juan Pablo Dupache. That movie, we had a ton of fake snow, but we had a very healthy snow budget for that movie, which we shot in September, so there was no snow. But when you have a healthy budget for practical snow, you can bring in very, very real looking snow. So obviously we did have a lot of VFX too for some of the big wider drone shots. But for the actual on-set stuff, it looked very real, and it felt like when we were on set, I was like, oh my goodness, it's like I'm literally in a winter wonderland right now in September. But we have shot a number of movies in Lake Arrowhead and Big Bear, and sometimes we haven't always had. We had a ton of real snow on our Showtime Christmas movie, My Best Friend's Christmas. We had a ton of real snow on that one as well. I think Merry Christmas Match had some real snow, but a lot of the snow had melted. So you just work with what you have in front of you. And yeah, sometimes I'll choose shots based on like, hey, I know I can really kind of make this look really nice in effects. With some effects snow. So yeah, it's always to be taken into consideration with Christmas movies.
Yeah.
But one of our ones from this year, actually, Welcome to the Christmas Family Reunion, for Lifetime, we shot here in Los Angeles. It is a Los Angeles Christmas movie, so it has no snow.
A warm weather Christmas movie. Wow.
Lifetime is there's a few. They always have a handful that don't have snow.
Radical.
Because Christmas does take place in places like here in Los Angeles where we don't have snow. So, but I used to look at it as it used to become a little bit of a frustration for me, and now I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's like it's a challenge. And it's fun how to make everything look a little bit more like my winter village.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, you've done the thrillers and the rom-coms, as you said. Would you say that one is easier than the other, or they're about the same?
I mean, they both come with their fair share of issues and challenges. People always ask me, what would you, if you had to choose, what would you choose? And I'm like, I can't ask me to choose. It's like, I can't, it's like peanut butter and jelly go together, right? So it's like, I have to have both for that sandwich, So I love both genres. Snow is definitely a challenge with Christmas movies. With thrillers, it's, more so being able to write a story that, fits within the ramifications of your budgetary limitations, which is why it's nice that I write my stuff, because I know what I can get away with for the budget and the time that we have. There's always, I'm always thinking, well, we have thrillers, we have a stunt coordinator. When we do Christmas movies, we don't have a stunt coordinator. So it's like, we do a couple of Christmas movies back to back. My stunt coordinator is like, I miss you guys, so that's always like, I think he wishes we were doing maybe more thrillers. But when we did Dashing in December, he did come because we had horses. So we obviously had stunts on set, but yeah, I don't know. They're both so different, both so much fun. Oftentimes I'll have actors who will come onto a set. Like right now I'm doing a thriller with Shaylee Rose, who's done a number of Hallmark movies, and this is her first thriller. And she was very, very excited to come do this and said, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. She of course loves doing the Hallmark as well, but she's very excited to be coming and doing a thriller. And she's like, this is just a whole new world for me. But yeah, it's been fun to watch her experience some of the challenges that come with this, shoot, which has required her to do a lot more crying and a lot more screaming and running around than she ever obviously does on a Hallmark movie. So, but yeah, I mean, that's oftentimes with actors. Natalie Hall is a good friend of mine. I
Oh, love her.
did a movie there. She's just one of the most incredible humans you've ever met. And she's just like, Jake, when am I playing a psycho? And I'm like, Natalie, it's coming. Like, I am definitely, she can do it. The girl has chops for days. Like, she's so talented. She can literally do anything. And
Yeah,
so
because they've done Psycho Grandma and Psycho Sister-in-Law and Psycho
that's Psycho
Nanny
Sister-in-Law is
and
mine, is
yeah,
one of mine. Psycho Sister-in-Law is one of mine. Psycho Party Planner, Psycho
yeah, Party
Stripper.
Planner.
Those are all
Yeah,
those are
yeah.
all mine. So and I have one coming, a thriller coming out December 10th on Lifetime Movie Network. It's going to premiere
Oh,
as part of Sleigh Bells, starring Yankee Crystal Lowe, who
oh,
is
great.
part of the Signed Sealed Delivered Hallmark series. She is my lead lady in that. And she actually did one thriller for Lifetime last year. I think it was
Oh, yeah, it was
Psycho Wedding Planner. Psycho
Wedding
Wedding
Planner.
Planner.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Psycho
Psycho Wedding
Wedding
Planner.
Planner.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with Kristen Booth.
I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So she's going to be the lead. In Old Flames Never Die, our upcoming thriller. So I guess
Oh,
I'm making a habit of making Hallmark stars come do thrillers with me.
yeah, you're taking them and stealing them. You want them back.
So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
Um,
how do you come up with your ideas?
I, you know, it's interesting. I'm always trying to figure out ways to take the formula and do something that hasn't been done, even though it's all been done. Trying to find a way to put a fresh spin on an idea that maybe has felt. I mean, Psycho Stripper was a huge hit for Lifetime. Because, and in fact, I think they ended up. Have you seen Psycho
I
Stripper?
haven't seen that one. No,
Okay.
I've seen Psycho
Yeah.
Granny, and I enjoyed that one very much.
Psycho Granny's good.
That was a
Yeah.
good one.
Psycho Stripper's a lot of fun. Starring Carissa Staples, who has done, I think, not for Hallmark, but a couple of Ion Christmas movies.
Okay.
Anyway, she's leading that. Tyler Johnson, soap star, he plays the psycho stripper, and they ended up licensing, I think, Magic Mike to play back to back with the crazy, because it's like, oh, let's play Magic Mike and then the psycho stripper movie back to back with it. But that movie was great for them because it was like, you have this crazy man, but he's not just like her husband, he's actually somebody who is a stripper at her bachelorette party and then becomes obsessed with her. And of course, there's a twist and so on and so forth. But that was a really cool way to incorporate, dance scenes into the movie. And like, there's a dance studio. She works at a dance studio, and just some really fun kinds of set pieces and things that you wouldn't normally see in this kind of Lifetime movie. But still very PG-13, still very fun. And it's one of those things that if you can find a way to do that. Old Flames Never Die, for example, the one coming out December 10th, is my idea was basically I want to see the crazy psycho version of Sweet Home Alabama. Like, I want to do Sweet Home Alabama, but with the psycho. So Crystal Lowe goes back to her hometown after her fiance cheats on her, and she ends up reigniting her high school old flame, but he is obsessed with her, and there's of course a twist and so on and so forth. So yeah, trying to figure out ideas that maybe feel like a spin on a rom-com as a thriller or something like that. That's always a lot of fun. And then like Psycho Sister-in-Law, for example, it's like we've seen so many of oh, I want to steal your baby away from you, but what if it was your sister-in-law who wants to take your baby? Like, that's something that we don't see too often. It's usually the next door neighbor or whatever. So yeah, just trying to find new spins on old classics.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
Go for
Yeah.
sure.
I think it's fun. With Dashing in December, when you were writing that, was that I guess stressful in a way because you're kind of it's a start. We don't have that many LGBTQ rom-coms during this time of year.
It's a very interesting Dashing in December is a very interesting story because I certainly have had queer characters in movies as supporting players, and I certainly never thought it was an option for me to write an LGBTQ Christmas movie, even though I am gay myself. But I actually pitched Dashing in December. I think the original pitch was like Christmas rants, something, I can't remember what it was, but it was actually originally, it's a heterosexual pitch. And my executive producer on that film came to me and said, hey, I actually wrote it with Netflix originally in mind, because they said, well, Netflix is thinking about doing a gay Christmas movie and you're perfect for this, so would you like to pitch something to them? So not only did I pitch it, I turned around and just wrote it. She was her idea. She says, why don't the horse ranch idea, like, why don't you do that? But like, I was like, that's brilliant. So yeah. And then I turned around and I actually wrote that script, funny enough, while I was shooting. We shot My Best Friend's Christmas and Merry Christmas Match back to back in Idlewild in the spring of 2019. And I actually wrote Dashing in December while I was making those two movies. They wanted something very quickly. I didn't want to miss the opportunity, and I knew I was going to be on set for 2 months. So I used to get up around like 7, 8 a.m., go to the gym down the hill, come back up, go to the coffee shop, and I would write for 2 hours, work on Dashing in December, and then go film for 12 hours later that day.
Wow.
So yeah, it was, needless to say, a little bit of a challenge. There were some nights I would wrap and try to do a little bit of work and fall asleep next to my glass of wine. But yeah, it was a great experience, and it ended up in the hands of our dear friend Megan Hooper White, who used to be the head of production over at Lifetime A&E. And she moved over to Paramount Network at that time, and she ended up loving it and wanted to do it there. So it ended up with Paramount, and that was just a fantastic experience. And they really supported the vision I had for that, in kind of making it like an authentic version of a queer representation, and hiring queer leads. And it was just really great. And now we're starting to see a lot more. I'm doing another one. I'm doing my second one next spring. It'll be starring real life couple Caldine Massey, who was the lead in Merry Christmas Match, and his husband Taylor Frey, who just had a little baby. So it'll be very exciting to be doing another queer Christmas movie with a real life couple who are both dear friends of mine. So
that's great. That's great. It was a great accomplishment. It was just, like, in my opinion, it's just nice to see different stories. I mean, we have so many of these movies that it's a new story. It shakes it up. It's just makes it less, I don't know, it's just fun.
Yeah, and we've been seeing so much of it. We started this year doing Welcome to the Christmas Family Reunion, which was my first movie featuring an interracial romance with our leads Michelle Argyris and Alonzo Slater, and that was a lot of fun for me to explore that. Since it's all about a white girl falling in love with this Black family, that she's not as close to her family, and she ends up, falling for not just him but all of them. And then, our other movie, Riding Around the Christmas Tree, was my first film featuring both Black leads, which was a lot of fun. We shot Sweet Navidad, which will come out next year. I did not write or direct that one. My friend Brittany Underwood directed that, and that's starring Camila Banus, who is Latina and features a lot of the Puerto Rican Christmas traditions. And we're about to go to Washington to shoot a Christmas movie in Leavenworth next month, which will be starring Valerie Ortiz, and who is also Latina. And so it's great to be seeing and to be able to, there are all these other Christmas traditions from other cultures that we don't really know much about or get to see or experience, because we're very used to our cookie cutter ideas about Christmas movies. And it's just lovely to be able to explore some of these other themes and cultures. I've like gotten excited about trying some of the Christmas foods that we got to do on the Puerto Rican film set. I actually missed it. I didn't get to because I was not there that day, but but I wanted to. And we're talking about making some of these Puerto Rican pastries that we're going to be doing the movie next month, as well with Valerie. So yeah, it's great.
That's awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about first, Welcome to Christmas Family Reunion. You were just mentioning it, and tell us a little about that one coming up.
Yeah. So Welcome to the Christmas Family Reunion was actually an idea that my ex-boyfriend had while we were dating. He said, I think you should write a movie about a white girl, and she's like ends up like falling for this Black guy, but then there's all these like matriarchs in the family, and they all have different like they'll want to do something different at Christmas. And I was like, this is genius. And I was like, well, their last name should be Christmas, that way we can call it a Christmas Family Reunion. And so that's kind of what it became. It became like, one of my strong suits has always been like writing female characters. And I love the banter between female characters. So one of my favorite movies I ever did was Girlfriends of Christmas Past for Up TV, which is basically like First Wives Club or John Tucker Must Die set at Christmas, with these three girls getting revenge on their cheating, this guy who cheated on all of them at Christmas time. So I thought that would be fun to play with again. And so we have, we were so blessed to get, Wendy Raquel Robinson and Vanessa Williams to play the mom and the aunt. And they have some great scenes where they bicker back and forth. And it's just, that was a ton of fun to film those scenes. And yeah, it's a beautiful movie about family traditions at Christmas, and this party planner, she kind of gets involved with the family, and that's how she ends up meeting Calvin, the lead guy, played by Alonzo Slater, and she's trying to kind of keep the calm, keep the cool for the Christmas Family Reunion, because all the matriarchs are arguing over where they're going to have it. Are they going to have it at whose house? So it was a lot of fun to kind of explore the different aesthetics of the Christmas. Vanessa Williams' house is like very clean and very like pristine, with the decorations. It's kind of not cold, but like it's very not homey, like Wendy Raquel Robinson's house has got like the little Christmas villages and the nativity and that kind of stuff. But they end up ultimately having it at their great aunt's house. And that's the one where they've always had it. So it ends up being like their old Christmas traditions, and that's not really giving anything away, I don't think. But it was a fun movie and a huge cast. Thank goodness we shot in LA, because the cast is so big. We had days where we just had like 10, 12 actors on set, and it took 3 hours to get everybody ready. So
I didn't realize that their last name was Christmas, that it's literally a Christmas family reunion.
Yeah. So that's why they have their family reunion during Christmas. Yeah.
That's clever. That'll be fun. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast.
Sometimes love needs a little push. Lizzie Shane, the award-winning author of The 12 Dogs of Christmas, has a brand new small town romance set in Pine Hollow, Vermont, where every happily ever after begins with adopting an adorable rescue dog.
First love gets a second chance into All the Dogs I've Loved Before when the town librarian, mischievous Australian Shepherd, keeps getting loose and fetching her ex, the town sheriff.
Lizzie Shane's Pine Hollow series has been called an irresistible blend of heart, humor, and a whole lot of puppy love.
And To All the Dogs I've Loved Before is available now wherever books are sold.
To learn more, visit www.lizzieshane.com.
That's lizzieshane.com. And your other one coming out in December is Riding Around the Christmas Tree, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
It's actually on Christmas Day. It's coming out, I think.
On Christmas Day.
Yeah.
We were really excited. It's funny. Our lead in that, Crystal Joy Brown, who I actually met as a result. She played a very small part in Psycho Stripper as the maid of honor. And that's how I met her. And it just so happened because of COVID, she's in Hamilton right now on Broadway. But because of COVID and, Broadway was shut down till just recently. And I messaged her and I said, hey, would you want to come to LA and, play a lead, and she obviously had done a second lead female in a Hallmark Christmas last year, One Royal Holiday. And so she was like, I would love to play the lead. Oh my goodness. She's gonna get really excited. And I almost was like, should I write a scene in there where she sings?
Yes,
she's
please.
such a great singer, but she doesn't. Actually, funny enough though, Meg Steedle, who is in the movie, and just a very, very talented, lovely actress, friend of mine as well. She does sing in the movie. So there is singing in the movie. It's just not Crystal. But yeah. And then I knew Curtis Hamilton, as a result of, I think he had auditioned for Dashing. So we had been in touch and I thought he would be great to play the lead. So the lead guy. So yes, we had both of them come in and do it. We just got really lucky to get Don Lewis and James Black on board. Very talented actors as well. And then two of my friends, Max Emerson and Gavin Michaels. There is a gay couple in the movie. They just it's kind of a second B story, like love interest between them in the movie, which is really cute. And that movie was a lot of fun. That movie was like summer camp. We were up in Lake Harrod. We had some real snow. Fortunately, the side of the house that the sun set on was able to maintain its snow because it didn't have sun hitting it all day. So it's like, oh, thank goodness our snowbank is here. We don't have to put snow blankets down. But we shot at this amazing, beautiful chateau right on the lake. I ended up staying in this. It was called the Happy Hut, but Marilyn Monroe stayed there, I guess, back in the 50s. Yeah, she stayed in this hut. It's like a little summer house outside the chalet. But yeah, I stayed there during the duration of the shoot, and a lot of the crew stayed in this chalet. But the chalet is incredible. There's like secret passages everywhere. It's massive, and it's a very just perfect Christmas retreat. And that was actually the original title of the script was Christmas Retreat.
Oh.
But it turned into Riding Around the Christmas Tree. But that was a very special story to me because it's about writers, and I am a writer. So and it was a challenge to how do you do a movie about a writer's retreat and keep it not boring? Because talking about writing is kind of boring.
Right.
So I had to try and find ways to make it interesting. They have activities, and these activities, I gave them Christmas names, Christmas themes. And of course there's a lot of traditional Christmas goings on in the movie as well. But one of the things that has gotten, at least for me, really boring as a writer, and I'm actually bored as a viewer, is seeing Christmas cookies being made. It's just like, oh, there's only so many times somebody can make a snow angel or throw a snowball. So it's it was fun. It was a challenge to try and create a story that tells something different and isn't just the normal Christmas activities. And I'm trying to do more of that kind of stuff because it is also more interesting for the audience. It's getting to explore like we was talking about with cultures, but getting to explore, a different activity, Christmas activity. So,
and I'll at least, if they're going to do the activities that we've seen a million times, at least give their characters some like real motivation for participating in those activities. That
yeah,
helps a lot too. Like I really enjoy the Christmas list with Alicia Witt. And in that one, she finds this old list that she wrote when she was a little girl with that she wanted to do, Christmas things she wanted to do. And she said she would never end up becoming like her mother. Well, she finds out I'm just like my mother. She finds this list and she's like, okay, I want to do all these things just so I can tell myself I'm not like my mother. And I thought that was a really great motivation for then now we get to spend all this time doing all these stuff, these fun activities. And I wish that they were kind of more thought out like that. That they had kind of a motivation of like in Very Merry Mix-Up when they make cookies and they do it because they have to stay up because they'd had concussions. So there's like a motivation for it. And so I think that at the very least, if we could kind of do that, it makes the stories better.
Yeah, I totally agree because I think a lot of people are catching on. I don't think it's just me and you who are noticing. I mean, there's
only
definitely
us.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are catching on. I really, one of my favorites last year, I watched a lot of these with my mom when I go home for Christmas. Is like 5-Star Christmas was a ton of fun. And I think Hallmark is wanting to do some more fun stuff like that, which is great. Because there's room for it. There's room to have these kinds of fun spins on stories that the kind of the farcical
well, and the best part of that movie was the sister who, again, she had a motivation for doing all her cooking because she wanted to become a chef, but also because it was keeping her mother's memory alive. So that worked, I think, really well. Yeah, I agree. I think that I mean, we just get so many of these that if you're going to go basic, then you have to have great chemistry and the banter needs to be really good. Otherwise you need to freshen it up somehow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And that, and having a new story that gives you the opportunity to, that was what was so great about, riding around the Christmas tree is, Crystal Joy Brown wants to keep the memory of her mother's retreat alive, which is why she ends up doing the retreat, because she has writer's block and she can't finish her new book. But part of it's that she is writing about love, but she hasn't experienced, she refuses to give love a chance again after her heart was broken the last time she had a bad breakup after she lost her mom. So that was what was fun because, Curtis's character writes nonfiction. So he's like the total opposite of her, but he's actually totally down to, experience love and is not being shy about the fact that he has a little crush on her. So that's always something really fun to explore. Funny enough, I actually got writer's block. I haven't had writer's block in years. I can't even remember the last time I read. It's probably been 8 years. I don't know. And I got writer's block writing this script about this writer having writer's block. I was writing around the Christmas tree last Christmas when I was home for the holidays, because I knew we were shooting it in March. And as I was writing it, I just got writer's block and I couldn't finish it. I was in Texas and the whole time I was there, I was just like rewriting the first 30 pages over and over and over. And it wasn't until I got back to LA, like in middle of January, and the executives are like, where is this script? I've never missed a deadline. And I'm like, I got writer's block. And they're like, you're joking, right? And I'm like, no, I really have writer's block.
You're like, this is too meta.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's funny. Yeah. And this Curtis Hamilton, he looks very dreamy.
Oh, Curtis. Yeah. He looks
great.
He's very, very good looking guy. Don't tell him that. He's not, he knows it. Today is actually his birthday. So I was just texting him, wishing him a happy birthday.
Well, so, happy belated birthday when this posts, Curtis. Yeah, great birthday. Well, we like to end our interviews with some fun, silly questions, and you get the holiday version because it's Christmas. So, all right, first question: what is your favorite holiday drink? Hot cocoa or eggnog or cider or whatever you like. What's that?
Champagne a holiday drink?
Yeah, sure, it counts. Okay.
Champagne. I love to pop open bottles of champagne in my mom's kitchen when she's not looking because it scares her. And I have like a collection of Christmas videos scaring my mom with champagne pops.
funny.
My sisters think I'm such a jerk, but it's tradition.
Yeah. For next question, what is your favorite holiday cookie or treat?
I'll splurge, and I'll usually get one of those little cranberry Starbucks, with the white icing on it. Like I like those. I'll have those once or twice during the Christmas, but like pumpkin bread, homemade
Oh yeah,
pumpkin
delish.
bread, or like a pumpkin roll, like with the cream cheese icing. That's amazing. I actually make a really good pumpkin cake with cream cheese icing. So
are you a big PSL person? Pumpkin spice latte?
I'm not anti. I don't drink a lot of Starbucks. I'm a little bougie.
Okay.
So I mean, I guess some people think Starbucks is bougie, but like I'm like, I go to the coffee
Oh
shop.
yeah.
So
Good.
not too big on the Starbucks, but no hate. I'll drink Starbucks. If it's there, I'll drink it.
Well, they have pumpkin spice other places, right?
Yeah, they do. Actually, there is a place that I had a pumpkin, I think it's called Coffee Dose. I had a pumpkin spice that was awesome. Yeah.
Well, what is your favorite Christmas song or carol?
Oh goodness. I do love Cold December Night, Michael Bublé, which was amazing because we ended up getting it for the opening credits of Dashing in December. That's one of my faves. I think as far as traditional goes, I love Oh Holy Night, which we had Lindsay Court singing in our Hallmark Merry Christmas match. That's a beautiful song. I love the John Williams Home Alone score. Beautiful Christmas music. And and the Love Actually Christmas score also is a beautiful Christmas score. So sorry, I can't give you.
No, good ones. Okay. What is your favorite classic Christmas movie?
Definitely Home Alone.
Yeah.
Home Alone, then Love Actually, then Home Alone 2, probably.
That's one of my favorites. That's the first comedy that I really ever bonded with. I saw it when I was just about to turn 10 with my grandparents, and I just thought it was the funniest thing ever. I loved it so much.
Watch it over and over and over again, and it never gets old.
Yeah.
My nephew's actually named Kevin after Kevin McAllister.
No way.
That's how serious our family is about Home Alone.
The new one,
Love Actually tattoo as well.
Oh my gosh, look at that. The new one I do not recommend.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I did.
Has it?
It dropped on it dropped on Friday.
Okay.
And it's just they made a lot of baffling decisions. Like, why on earth would you make they made the robbers like kind of supposedly likable with like this whole backstory about how they're losing their house, they need to get this thing that's in the whatever the new name is, their house. So that doesn't work, because then we feel bad when these people that we're supposed to be rooting for are getting like tortured, basically. I mean, the whole point is it's supposed to be funny to see bad guys get anvils, dropped on them. Like,
yeah.
And so to make them, it was just so misguided. I was like, what on earth are they thinking?
That's too bad.
Yeah, it was.
You'd think with all the money behind it, they would, and also Ellie Kemper's so great.
Yeah,
that's a disappointment. Yeah,
it wasn't her fault, but it was just not well thought out. But anyway, I love Home Alone too. I'm with you there. So which do you like better, Scrooge or the Grinch?
Grinch.
Okay, good. Clear lights or colored?
Clear.
Okay. Would you rather be in a snowball fight or build a snowman?
Snowball fight.
Okay. Would you consider yourself a good gift wrapper?
No. Terrible. Worst. Absolute worst. I'm also just I'm the laziest, most horrific. If I can stick a bow on the heinous wrapping job, I'll just put bows wherever I can just to get
You're like, it's the gift that counts.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, last question. Do you have an ugly Christmas sweater? You're in there in LA, so probably not.
I do. Yeah. I mean, no, it's not ugly. I have a cute, ugly Christmas sweater, I guess.
You're like, that's good.
They're all cute. They're ugly, but they're cute. Whatever.
Right. Yeah. Well, very good. You answered all the questions.
Nice.
You passed the test.
All right.
But thank you so much for coming down and talk with us. We really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun to get to know you and talk with you, and looking forward to the 2 new movies.
Yeah, really excited. We'll have updates. My producing partner, Autumn Federici, my rock in this world, she does lots of updates on our Insta for Ninth House Films, so you can follow our Christmas goodies there. We have lots of updates coming up.
Do you have social media that you want to share?
At Ninth House Films is our social, and then you can find me and Autumn through there. I do some work posting, but we post about all of our Christmas stuff on and thriller stuff on Ninth House Films.
Great. Well, thank you so much again. Really
appreciate
for having
it.
Me. Yeah, and hope you have a very, very Merry Christmas.
Yeah, same to you.
It's great to meet you. Bye. We'd like to thank Jake for coming on the podcast. This was so much fun to get to meet him and talk with him, and let us know your thoughts of all the different things that we talked about. We'd love to hear in the comment section or on Twitter. And you can follow me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So please take a look at that. And also make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. If you're listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our merch store and patron group, which we so need that support. So please take a look. Thanks again to Jake, and we'll wish you all a very Merry Christmas. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.